Today's video is actually a very serious one. I'm not here to have a laugh or a bit of fun or do something silly. I'm actually going to address something that has been on my mind for quite some time, and it's not my intention to piss anyone off in this video, but the reality is it will. It just will. So without further ado, seeing as today is the International Day of Women's, I went to work this morning and I had women's on my mind. More specifically, my women's. My dearest darling wife. And my immediate thought went straight to what we went through when she started to breastfeed. I couldn't shake it. It was such a strong memory. It was the type of memory that came back with all the physical and mental effects that some memories can hold for people. Let's just start off. Breast is not best. That's saying I hate it. As a father, I hate it. It should not be used. What do I mean by that? Breast milk's bad, breast milk's no good, it's not better than the alternative? Not at all. Of course it's fantastic. Of course it is. If it's available, go for it. Why would you want to do anything else? But this whole attitude of telling new mothers, hey, breast is best, and then putting ridiculous amounts of pressure on them to get there, to breastfeed, to be successful at it and not to give up, that is downright evil. I know that sounds incredibly harsh saying it's evil, and I'm not saying you're evil. The statement itself is evil. The attitude of just push through it is evil. Because evil seeks to destroy. I'm incredibly lucky to have been blessed with a little boy that is now 3 years of age and the absolute centre of my being. There is something about the love for a child which is just extremely different. He's my boy. I love him. And it's been a great 3 years. I mean, I can't fault him. There is no fault about him at all whatsoever. He's 3 years of age, so he's in that beautiful testing his boundary, fighting back, arguing, crying at every second when he doesn't get what he wants type of phase, but he's actually not that bad. He's amazing. He was born 9 weeks premature, at least that's what we were told. He was born perfectly healthy, reasonably great size. Sorry for the mums that might be watching that are curious about, well, what were the weight measurements? I don't know, I was the dad, I was there just going, look here, what a wonderful experience we've all had. Maybe he might have been on the tad small of being in the healthy range, like he was down at the small end, but still great. There's probably a chance they stuffed our dates up. We've actually thought that for quite some time, but nonetheless, according to the medical experts, he was born 9 weeks premature, perfectly healthy. Slight complication during the birthing process meant that his skull wasn't shaped as well as it could have been, but no issues, got around that. We've got this actually cool little carbon fibre looking helmet for him that he spent the first year and a bit in, and his head's fine, and plus he looked awesome for that whole time. He was cute as punch, and every person that saw him was like, oh my god, look at the baby, so yeah. Typical pregnancy, relatively typical birth. We bring our child home and immediately there is issues trying to breastfeed. Nothing that my wife was doing wrong, nothing that we could finger point as to she was doing wrong. She was trying the techniques that the midwife was offering. She tried the techniques she read in books, the techniques she read online, what friends offered, what strangers offered, what forums offered, what professionals offered, what non-parents offered. She tried so many techniques to be able to breastfeed, and it just never went well. My child just wouldn't latch. No matter what, struggled to latch. And when he did, he wouldn't hold on for very long. My wife tried so hard to produce milk in every possible conceivable way that I guess a woman can, and some days it just wasn't there. Other days it was, other days it was iffy. And as a father, you feel absolutely useless because you don't know anything about this. Your body isn't reacting when your child cries. You're just someone that's sitting there watching something you don't quite get. Well, what I did get from watching my wife and my child was a shock to my system, was agonizing, was traumatizing. I can't remember the amount of times I would wake up in the middle of the night, 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, whatever time, to see my wife there trying to feed our child and tears just streaming down her face. This look of agonizing failure coming from her eyes while our little dream is struggling to eat. I can't tell you how I felt watching my child starve and then looking at my wife and watching her suffer for something that wasn't her fault. Day after day, night after night, we tried to do everything we could and it just didn't work. It was horrible. I remember when one of the times the midwife came back over to help Sally learn to breastfeed. Listen, her intentions were right. She wanted what was best for the child. Unfortunately, her mind was so locked down that breast is the only answer. And I remember sitting there watching this midwife trying to handle our son into different unrealistic positions to get him to latch on to my wife. And this midwife moving my son up and down. Like at one point, my wife was trying to hold him like this, with the head down. What? And with each and every moment that my son didn't latch, I saw this woman's attitude, personality, facial features, and voice change. And with each step, it held more and more and more disdain for my wife. It was so recognisable. The voice changed. The face dropped. Every moment was a judgment against her. And she started getting agitated. Not agitated at the situation, agitated at my wife. She started pushing back on her, saying, "You're not trying. You are not doing it right. You are not understanding what I want you to do." And it got worse and worse and worse, to the point where she stood up and just went and looked down at my wife like that, and I saw my face. I saw my wife's face just shatter into a million pieces. My boy latched at the last second and started to feed, and then this woman was like, "Yeah, there you go. See, told you all along. That's all you had to do." Well, what all we had to do was feel like absolute failures and have my wife's internal being just completely shatter and destroy upon itself. That's great. Let's feel that every time we need to feed our child. And with that, she gathered her things, signed her little book, and off she went. And quite thankfully, we never saw her again. It was horrible. As time went by, I just saw a huge decline in my wife and in my child's physical and mental state. All from the one saying that breast is best. All from the one attitude that if you even remotely give up on trying to feed your child from the breast, then you are a failure. You don't deserve to have children, is what we have heard and what we have read. You shouldn't be parents. Imagine if we talked to people like that were born without limbs. You shouldn't be a human being, you've only got one leg. Thinking of all the advice we've been given, thinking of when the midwives kept telling us, do this, do this, do this. And I thought, this is evil. This advice is forcing my wife to push and push and push through with something that is clearly trying to tell us this ain't working. It was killing her mentally, and it was killing him physically. and that is evil. And when you're sitting there knowing you can't do a damn thing to help, as a father, you start feeling useless. You start feeling no good, and you start feeling like a failure. It is evil. And I don't know what time of the morning it was one day when I was watching my wife go through this again and watching my child suffer again, when I said, actually, I can do something. And I said to my wife, this is bullshit. Everything you've been told is crap. You have done everything you possibly can. We're not doing this anymore. We're making you happy and we're feeding our child. And that was it. We moved to bottle formula. And oh my gosh, the change that we saw in our household nearly instantly. My child was being fed, became more calm, became a lot more attentive, a lot more happy, sleeping better when he should have been sleeping, brighter, bubblier. The colour in his skin started to come back to normal. It was incredible. My wife, it did take a little bit longer because she had this constant feeling of, I've really failed now, he's on a bottle. She pushed back on me at first, but deep down inside, which she's admitted to me later, she was so thankful that I did take that stand and make the decision for the family that we'll put our son on formula. She should not have that guilt whatsoever. She's a mother who did more than a lot of parents do for their child. But thankfully, mankind is so advanced and so brilliant that it has already come up with alternative ways to feed your newborn child when your body just isn't going to do it. And that, I am extremely grateful for those people. I'm extremely grateful for whoever pioneered formula. And I'm extremely grateful that we live in a country here like Australia that has an amazing supply. So much so that we can actually help out other mothers in other parts of the world. Isn't it wonderful that there's multiple ways to do all sorts of things so everyone gets a chance? So everyone can do things and succeed, no matter what avenue they take. Listen, I get that there are parents out there that just don't want to breastfeed at all because they are lazy. They don't want to go through all that trouble, or they don't want their perfect physique to potentially be destroyed, but it still doesn't give anyone the right to demand that they do it or to judge them for not doing it. You know, there's women online that are getting verbally bashed by other women for not breastfeeding, and they may be rape victims. The touch of even a child against your body sends these subconscious shivers through your physical being and also your mental being. And that's why the body shuts down, because it's remembering a traumatic experience and it shuts down and it can't feed the child. Yet, this is not a lie, this is not crap, this is legitimate. Those sorts of things exist. You don't know the harm you're causing by pushing this whole breast is best attitude. And it doesn't just affect the mothers, it affects the child that they're trying to feed, it affects the partners that are trying to do everything they can for them, it affects the family around them, and it is a lasting effect that carries on for years. It is International Women's Day, and for all that this day stands for, I hope that any mother out there to a newborn or is about to have their first, second, third, whatever child, and potentially maybe watching this, I just want to encourage you. Your child's health and well-being is best. Just remember that. It doesn't matter how you feed him or her, whether it be breast or bottle. As long as you are taking steps to make sure your child's fed, your child's happy, that you're fed and that you're happy, that you're both as rested as you possibly can be as a mother and child, then that's all you need to aim for. We need to do our research, and we need to make sure that what we're saying gives cause for growth, not destruction. We all have one shot here. We've got to be as positive and happy as we can to those around us. And if you see someone going out and purposely doing something harmful to someone else, sure, step in, speak up. Just do it with love, do it with respect. But if you see someone doing something that you just don't generally agree with, well, don't agree with it and keep moving. Words are so dangerous. And when they're not used in the right way, they can destroy lives. Definitely an odd video today. If I did piss people off, well, I gotta say I don't care. If I piss someone off because I've actually said the wrong thing and done something wrong, or something's come out of my mouth that I haven't thought about, let me know. Because that I'd want to know about and want to apologise for. But if it's just because I've hurt your feelings, or you are one of these people that push the whole breast is best and now want to ridicule me as a male who doesn't know what he's talking about, you go right ahead, because I'm the one that's lived it. I'm the one that's seen it firsthand. And I'm the one that 3 years later is seeing my child, who is extremely advanced for his age, extremely healthy, incredibly smart, unbelievably intuitive, comical, cheeky, witty, energetic, pleasant, polite, incredibly loving, and at the same time a typical 3-year-old. So take my hat off to the people who made bottled formula. Thank you. Thank you for saving my child's life, and thank you for saving my wife's life. Thank you from a father for saving my family when I thought there was no way out. Have a great International Women's Day. Go out and celebrate your mum, your sister, your partner. Give them a bit of love. Because we all go through stuff. But as soon as they become mums, they do have to go through other things that we just cannot comprehend. But we can be there and support them every way. And to my dearest wife, I love you so much, and thank you for being an incredible mother and the most successful mother that I've ever had the pleasure of meeting. I love you. Thanks, guys.